So hi, my name is Sunil Magavi, and I'm actually originally from Bangalore. So I actually am a a program manager in Ericsson, and I've been doing that for a long time. But we also have a side business of running child care centers. So we have the Montessori child care centers, which actually my wife runs, and I help her, do kind of the background work for her, and mainly can help her with IT-related work. So that's kind of the business that actually we are in. So we have two centers, childcare centers. These are private schools, and we cater to children from ages 3 years to 12 years. And predominantly the Montessori method of teaching. And we actually have two centers. We had 3 centers before, but now we have 2 centers. And we actually serve 2 suburbs called Plano and Frisco. Those actually are in Dallas-Fort Worth. So that's pretty much what we do. Okay. And my wife runs these 100%. It's really, I was searching for web companies, of course, because we needed a new website. So I have a good network of friends, my classmates from Joseph's. So I did ask that question: has anybody worked and revamped the website? Do you guys have businesses where you had to use this kind of services before? And so a classmate of mine, Harish, he reached out to me and he told me that he actually had used your company to do some work for his business. So he had good things to say about you and positive experiences. So that's when actually I decided to at least give you a call and talk to you to see if what we are wanting in a website aligns with what you guys do. Very basic, right? I mean, we've had a website, of course, for our business, but that has been there for 4 or 5 years. And my thinking was that every 3 to 4 years, we need to actually revamp our websites to make it fresher, cleaner look. So one of the things that I wanted really was to kind of have a very minimalistic design, a fresh design, not complex, just very minimalistic, but with a good design. And the most important was that I wanted it to be, easy to kind of navigate, and then across all the platforms, especially the mobile devices. The trend is, of course, most people actually are accessing the websites and services on their handsets. So we wanted to kind of make sure that our website, is very mobile friendly. So that was kind of the main requirement. And of course, it goes without saying that the website had to be of clean, new design and modern design. I really had never worked, I'm from here, of course, but I've never actually worked or lived here for a long time. So one of the things was that I don't know much about the company at all, even though I'm going through a referral. That of course is a plus point because there's somebody who's worked with you before. So that of course is a positive one, right? But still, how does it work? Because I don't know them. If something goes wrong, I'm there, you guys are here. I can't come chasing after y'all. I'm supposed to give 50% deposit. What happens if after I give a deposit, the work doesn't get done? I don't have the bandwidth or the time to chase you guys to see where we are. I mean, that was one of the things, and the other one is that do they truly understand the requirements? They might say yes for everything, because to get the business, most people do say, they won't say no, but they keep saying yes for everything. But do they truly understand what we're asking for? We're not asking for anything complex. This is pretty simple design, really. But still, for us, it's important. So do they actually understand what we're asking them to do? Will they understand my requirements? How will they work with us? Will the time difference work? Will they meet our timelines? So I think these are some of the things that crossed my mind. I didn't want to have a different pricing, if I were to have a company in India compared to a company in the US. The work that you guys do would be the same. It's not you have to travel somewhere to do the work. So the level of effort and the work would have been the same. But I don't want to be charged a premium, just because I'm paying, I'm living in the US. If there was a big difference, then I would have used the services in the US itself. I wouldn't have come, right? So I wanted, of course, that the same pricing that you normally do, not asking for a discount or anything, but just whatever you guys charge for your regular customers here in India, is what I would have expected, the same kind of pricing. I mean, I would say to start with, after I got the information from Harish, and I sat down with you, and we had a lengthy discussion for about an hour and a half. To kind of go through what I wanted and how you could help us with, and you had some few ideas.
Sure.
then I told you that, like, we'll send you the requirements and so on, right? So I think the process worked out pretty good, because then I think the requirements, I did spend some quite amount of time in the requirements. I think from what I could tell, I think the requirements were quite detailed, right?
Absolutely.
Right. So I know exactly, I knew exactly what I wanted from the website,
Sure.
and you had a couple of good suggestions, on what cannot be done and so on. So that, I think, was a good starting point for me, at least to know that, like, yes, these guys, at least, understand what I'm asking for, and are willing to work with, what we wanted. If you were to give one example, I think that, like, I think some of the comments that we had, like, were being handled in a timely manner. Like, I told Jaffer about a few things that were not, in my opinion, correct or needed to be updated. I mean, he didn't have any questions, and he did that without any complaints and anything. So I think
the Slack channel was also a real.
The Slack channel, I think, was very good. I think there's one. If there's one thing, you're right. If there's one thing, I would say the Slack channel was really helpful to us, because it was not just me providing input, because I wanted to make sure my wife, who runs the business, and then my two directors who actually operate the two centers, are able to provide, feedback. At the same time, I should be able to know the history of what has been discussed, and everybody knows what's happening and so on, right? So I think the email would not have worked. It would have worked, but it would have been too cumbersome, right? So I think the Slack channel, the Slack was fantastic. I think we really, really, appreciated, getting to use the Slack. I think that really helped us in the communication. People accessing on their handsets, the experience is going to be much better and faster and cleaner, right? Earlier, the first time that we had a website, I was new to the business too, and I really didn't know much about it. It is the same website that was, I don't think it was optimized for the mobile devices, right? So it was not pulling up fast enough, and it wasn't providing a good user experience.
Right.
So I think it's been about a month or so since the website has been up and running. So
any feedback from your parents and things like that?
I mean, no negative feedback, put it that way, right? But some of the parents, a lot of that is very difficult to get, because people are really busy to be able to provide feedback, right? So the good thing is no negative feedback, but there are a few parents when we ask specifically that, like, hey, and they say, look, oh yeah, it's good and it's easy to use and it's faster and so on, right? So from that perspective, yes, the positive is that we didn't get any negative feedback. So I think that's a positive, right? I didn't have any issues during the design process. That's one. And you guys were flexible, because we underestimated the amount of time we needed ourselves to collaborate and provide feedback, right? If it is just me, then it's okay. I can work late in the evening and early hours and provide the feedback, right? Because this is just not me providing the feedback. It's also asking my wife, asking the two directors, trying to get all of them, right? So I think that effort of getting input from everyone was something that I underestimated. So that took a lot longer. So I think you guys were very patient with that one. So I think I truly appreciate that, the whole process delayed from our side for about 2 to 3 months. But I think you guys were patient enough to not really, make a big deal out of it. And I think that was a good, I would say, taste in my mouth, as far as that, these guys are good, easy to work with, right? So that really was a good thing. That's something positive I would tell the folks, right? So, and the price was competitive, right? I don't know how much it would have been cost me in the US, double for sure in the US, but I really didn't compare, right? But the price is very competitive. I've not even compared with other companies in India. I don't need to, I'm not in the business of comparing costs. But to me, at least, for what we wanted, the price is competitive, and all the requirements that we had asked for were met. Right, so, and it was a fair deal, 50% deposit upfront, and the work was started, and then we transferred the money after the work was completed. So everything that we had talked to and agreed, was really met. So I think from that perspective, I would definitely, if somebody were to ask me, to do something similar, I would definitely recommend you guys.